Hello and welcome back to DIY Gamer Lessons. What we're going to do today, now that we've got collisions detected, we've got game overs being sent to our wonderful users, you, hopefully the gamer, we now have to, of course, create a little bit more difficulty so it makes it a bit more interesting. And of course, wouldn't it be nice to know what points we're achieving during our gameplay? So the things that we want to do this time are make it more difficult to play and create a score. Great, okay, cool. Those are both quite fun, I think. So before we do any of that, what we did last time, and we should do it again, we should see what we have done to the logic and to the code itself and see if we can do anything to clean it up, make it a little less complicated. Because if you look at our code in the loop, suddenly we have all of this text that wants to happen. That's a lot of space in our loop being taken up, which makes it really hard to read where anything is. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look to see how we can clean it up. So first of all, we have our clearing of the screen, which is fine. Then we have the whole game over thing, right? So what I'm going to do here is instead of taking if game over, I'm going to say, let's have a look here. I'm going to say take all of this and I'm going to cut it out. And I'm going to create a function that's called if game over is equal to true, handle game over function. Okay? So I'm going to create that function down here, void handle game over. And I'm just going to paste exactly what we had a moment ago down there. Perfect. And then go back to my loop. My loop is looking much cleaner. Look at that. It's so much shorter. That's perfect. If game over equals true, handle game over. And then I'm saying if game over equals false, do the rest of this. You know what? If game over equals true, the thing about true and false is it's either true or it's false, right? There's nothing in between. No gray areas at all. It is true, therefore it's not false. Or it is false, therefore it's definitely not true. So what we can say here with this if statement, with a conditional statement, you can say, if something is true, do it. Otherwise, do something else, right? Otherwise meaning it's not true, so do something else. So in this case, we're going to say if game over equals true, handle game over. Otherwise, or in the world of Arduino, else, do all this other stuff. So I'm just going to cut out that other if statement, and now it'll go straight into the rest of it. See these three lines here? Interesting. We could get rid of those three lines by making another little function, which I think we should do because I love my little functions. I'm going to cut that right out. And what are we doing with those three lines? We were checking to see if there's a collision. So check for collisions. That's the name of our new function. We're going to add it below there. Check for collisions. There it is. And now our loop function is looking so much cleaner. And I can click on upload just to check to see if it's okay still. Nothing should change once I upload it. But we have a nice, beautifully clean loop look on in our code. There we go. Game is playing. I'm playing. I'm dodging. Oh, there we go. I'm dodging. Dodged. Good stuff. Oh, I'm going to hit this guy. Ah, game over. How disappointing. Game over keeps going until I push the start button. And I'm playing again. Woohoo! Okay, great. Everything still works perfectly. I'm thrilled. So what were my tasks? Make it more difficult to play. Okay, so that means we need to have a score variable. So I'm going to create a variable called it score. I'm going to set it to equal to 0 in the beginning. Now remember, we've just created a new variable called score here. And what happens when we reset the game? We need to reset all the variables, including the score. So I'm just going to go straight back down, look for the reset section. Here it is. And I'm going to say score equal, oopsie daisy, I'm going to say score equals 0. Perfect. So now that's also being reset there. Perfect. And now what I'm going to do is I'm thinking about this. So how do we score this game? The way that the game works is every single time a wall finishes its movement across the screen, it draws another wall. So why don't we consider that 1 point? Wall has just gone past you, you score a point. Next wall goes past you, 2 points. Next wall, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, etc., etc., etc. Let's do that now. So score equals 0. So where are we doing all that wall stuff? I believe we have a function called walls, handle walls maybe. There it is, handle walls. If new wall equals true, that's the first thing we have in there, right? Because we're telling ourselves that at the beginning of the game we need a new wall, right? So if new wall equals true, we're going to add 1 to our score. Score plus 1, okay? In the world of programming, score equals score plus 1 is the same thing as saying score plus plus, okay? We're going to leave it as score equals score plus 1 for now. Then we are now hopefully, I'm also going to do this, serial.println score. So we can see what the score is every single time this happens. So let's start running that and see how our score is accumulating. See if we're doing well. Okay, so let's have a look. So we've got 1 score because we've just seen 1 wall. There's another wall there. Oops, game over. Perfect. So interestingly enough, you know what we've just discovered? It said that there was actually a wall busy moving when we didn't see one, which means the wall must have been either 0 pixels high or it was being drawn off screen. So we have an interesting issue there. We've just discovered an issue. Okay, so how do we fix that? When we generate a new wall, we have a random value of 5 and a random height of 7. Right. But our wall height cannot be less than 0. It cannot be 0. So what we have to do is consider how do we fix this. In order to fix this, we must make sure that our wall height is never going to be equal to 0 pixels. So when we're finding our wall Y position to start drawing from, and then we draw the actual height from that Y position, we need to make sure that the wall height is never equal to 0. So I'm going to say it's equal to random 6 plus 1. Let's see if that changes anything. Okay, so we open up our serial monitor again. Oh, there it is, our first one, perfect. So we've now fixed it. Whoopsie daisy. Perfect, doing very, very well. And it's scoring correctly, I'm very thrilled to say. Perfect. So now we're going to do something about, oh, and then game over. Excellent. So we've fixed a little bug that we discovered, which is perfect. That's what happens as you make things more complex, you discover bugs. And then what we do is we are going to now do something a bit more interesting with that score. So now we have a score. We know that there's a score. Fantastic. How do we draw that score in some interesting way to the screen? Well, here's where things can get a little bit interesting. We're going to try and we're going to do something which is basically, for every point I get, I'm going to draw a pixel onto the display. So at the end of it saying game over, I'm going to say, right, at the end of game over, how many points do I have? 5. I'm going to draw 5 dots, so you know how many points you managed to score. Perfect. So the way that's going to work, it's quite interesting how this is going to work. We're going to use a nested for loop. Let's have a look here. So where are we doing our handling of our game over? It's called handle game over. Here it is. So first we type out game over. That's what all these things do. And then I'm going to say for we're going to go for every Y position, I'm going to go through every X position and keep on putting a pixel until I've run out of score to do it, right? So first for every Y position, for int Y equals 0, Y is less than 8 because the maximum is 8, Y plus plus. We all remember loops from our previous work on walls. So we've now got, first we're starting with the Y position because that's the height. And then inside of that, this is where things go crazy. We're doing something called a nested loop. We say for int X is equal to 0, X is less than 8, X plus plus. Now what that does is it says, first, inside of the Y position, you're going to move the first position is y is equal to 0. And while y is equal to 0, we're going to go through x equals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As soon as x goes above 7, we now go to the next point of the y loop, which is y becomes y plus 1, so y goes to 1. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the x, then y becomes 3. And it carries 2, and then it becomes 3. So it carries on. That's what a nested loop does. You can go through the whole two-dimensional screen in this way. So while this is happening, what are we doing inside this? We're going to set the pixels on the display. We're going to say gamer.display x and y is equal to 1. That's simple. And then we're going to put a little delay in there as well, because of course we don't want to, we don't necessarily want that to be too quick or too slow. Let's see what happens. We'll update that. Here it goes, uploading, uploading, uploading. Let's see what happens. And there it goes, and now we're playing, everything's good. Oh, I hit it and it says game over, and now, oh look, I can't see anything there because first of all, it's still got an R in there, so I can't see anything. And second of all, I think it's pausing for every single one of the positions inside the array, and it's never stopping. So what we're gonna say is this. First of all, before we even do that, we have to say gamer.clear, okay? Then I'm gonna make that slightly faster. Let's see what happens now. Upload it. So I'm assuming if I lose this first one, I should only get one dot drawn. Let's see if that works. Done uploading, and the game plays. We hit something, and it says game over. It clears, hopefully. Oh, I don't see anything. Oh, why? Because I still have to update it. My mistake. I forgot that once I put something on the display, I have to update the display. Update display. Let's upload that again. See what happens. Okay, so we hit this thing and game over. Whoa, it just drew all of them. Okay, so there's something wrong there. And the reason is because right now it's not checking to see, but I mean, well, first of all, it's doing what we wanted, but it's not doing it according to how much score we've actually managed to achieve. It's doing it for all of them, right? So we need to make sure that it's doing it depending on how much score we've actually achieved. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this variable called total score. Int total score, create a new variable called int total score and set it equal to 0. And then I'm going to compare that total score to the score, and every single time I'm inside of that loop, I increment it by 1, I increment the total score by 1, and I check to see is it the same as my score or isn't it. So the important thing is it'll start off not equal to my score, it'll keep on incrementing itself until it is equal to my score, and when it's equal to my score I want to stop drawing pixels to the display. So the way we do that is we say if score is not equal to total score, right? So if my score and my total score are not equal to each other, then draw the points in. And now I've got this little, I've put a curly bracket there, which means I have to close the curly bracket. Fine. And then if that happens, I have to increase my total score by 1. Right? So obviously, score, I've now drawn I've drawn one of the score elements to the screen. I need to increment the number of score elements I've drawn to the screen, and then I need to repeat the nested loop. Let's upload that and see if it works. Okay, game on, we hit it, and oh, I think it did it because it draws it really, really quickly, and then it goes straight to game over. I'm going to make that much longer. I'm going to make that 1000 milliseconds so we can see whether the pixel updates itself or not. Here it is, game on, and game over. There it is, 1 pixel. Brilliant. So now I'm going to reduce that speed a little bit to about, let's call it 50 milliseconds. And we're going to, at the end of our nested loop, we're going to put in a little bit of a delay. So in case it is very quick like we've seen, it doesn't just go straight to game over again. We can see at least the pause of half a second. And now I'm going to prove that we've actually managed to get more points as we get past the walls. So here we go. Game on. Okay, that should be our first point. This should be our second point. This should be our third point. Let's hope that's our fourth point. I'm gonna go for 9. That's our fifth point. Oh no, 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 no. Sixth. Seventh. Okay. Eighth. Oh man, unlucky. So we got to just 8. We didn't get to the next level. No problem. Brilliant. So we've now got our game over and we've got points. This is brilliant. We can use those points to give us more difficulty, but we'll do that in the next lesson. Congratulations. You got points, you got game overs, you got collisions, you got a ship, you got walls, you've got a game. Next lesson, you got difficulty.